Yes, we just closed on a business that we turned that business from a negative 8,500 cash sucker into a $12,000 per month cash cow. That is a laundromat that we acquired, and that's the best ever deal we have done. I know many of you asked me to do a breakdown videos, so here it is. But before we dive in, you need to know that creative finances is a tool for you to achieve those results. However, it's a tool. If you just go into a business and say, hey, can I buy your business seller finance? Can I buy your business sub 2? And I'll tell you that you won't get that, because that's not how you acquire a business creatively. There's 4 pillars of strategy that we have broken down to achieve the deal like this. And you need to join our community to get that. Link in the description, click on it, schedule a call, and I want to see you in the community, because that is the secret on how you get these deals done. Without further ado, let's see the full breakdown. Okay, so let me break down what the deal looked like. Remember, 4 things you need to learn when you walk into an appointment with a seller: how the business is doing, how the seller is doing, how the staff is doing, and how the customers are doing. So those are 4 things you really need to know before you even dive into any sort of deal structuring. When you learn about business, there are the few that you should break it down: debt, equity, and promises. Those are the 3 things that we talk about when you're dealing with deal structuring. Debt and the equity are the 2 that people talk about all the time, but promises is the one that people miss. Now, with a business, if you understand the business well enough, out of the debt, there's 9 different debt that the business had. It's crazy, right? 9 debt. Okay, so how we deal with it was we break it down to 2 buckets. One is the good debt, the other one is bad debt. The good debts are SBA and equipment debt. Okay, and the bad debts are like credit card debt, business debt, account receivable debt, and blah blah blah. There's so many other debt out there. Now, the business has those 9 debt, and out of the good debt, balance collective is about 180,000, which the business is paying about 1,200 every month. Now, with all the bad debt, the balance is at about 110,000, and the business was paying about 8,500 per month. Okay, so now let's talk about equity. The business has been missing about 4 to 5 months of rent, which means the business has been losing money. So the business was actually somewhere around negative 5,000 every month. That essentially that tell you that if a business is not making any money, the business would worth nothing. So equity-wise, the business really was worth nothing. And now considering the equity, it was 290,000 under the water. So essentially equity was more like negative 290,000, which is crazy, right? So essentially what we decided to do was, okay, with the good debt and bad debt, we're going to remove the bad debt, because removing the bad debt essentially will cost us 110,000, but that will bring us 8,500 per month of cash flow, which is such a great return of investment. Therefore, thanks to our capital partner, we bring in capital partners fund to pay off the bad debt. Once this is paid off, we are basically taking this net profit right back to the business. From a business perspective, if you're not paying a debt, now all become the positive cash flow, right? Negative, positive. You essentially create a massive value. Now we go from negative 5,000 to positive 12,000 per month, which is amazing. All right, now we talk about promises. Promises is the other big thing that can really define the success of your business acquisition. So out of the seller, we are paying the seller $2,000 at closing because the business really has no equity. And in addition, we decided to hire the seller back to work for us. Basically, we want her to help us with basically inherit the relationship with the customer and also stabilizing the team. She's going to work for us for 40 months, which we're going to pay her a certain salary to allow her to pay off her personal debt. Okay, because the business has been missing rent, initially, the landlord was actually asking us to pay back the missing rent. However, we quickly informed the landlord that, hey, the business really isn't making any money. There's no way the business can pay back the rent. So we essentially talked to the landlord and said, hey, we're going to be funneling a lot of capital to improve the business. Therefore, the landlord agreed to drop from 6,500 to 4,000 every month. That's the rent. Now, the landlord has also agreed to give us 5.5 months of rent-free period, allow us to give us a runway to, kind of stabilize the business, which roughly equate to about 33K. In addition, the landlord has also agreed that to give us a credit of 72K to go with rehab, repair, and whatnot. So before day one, we have created a 105,000 of value just from this promise from the landlord. Isn't that crazy? And then in addition, we're taking 2,500 of net profit saving from the rent, funneling back into the business. How awesome it is, right? So now let's look at the cash flow. We go from negative 5,000 to 11,000 per month, or 12,000 per month, right? If we look at annually, it goes from negative 5,000 to negative 60K, which essentially go to zero. Like if you look at the valuation, the business worth nothing. Now we turn the business into a positive roughly 132K per year of cash flow. And this is net cash flow. And that net cash flow in the area, you're usually looking at about 3 to 6x of valuation multiple. And that essentially become a positive $500,000 worth of companies. So think about that. Today, after we close on the business, we structure the deals. We execute all that thing. Overnight, we turn a business from zero or negative equity to a positive $500,000 companies. Isn't that crazy? This is how we structure a deal. This is why we consider a deal a home run deal. But before you know anything, the business was in negative value, negative equity, negative 290,000 equity, and not cash flowing. So think about that. A good deals doesn't really look like a good deals. A good deals typically is where we create value and turn a bad deals into good deals. So this is what we have done for the latest acquisition. If you want to learn more about how we're doing all these deals, click the link down below to join our community. That is the community that have a group of people. We just keep doing those creative deals. And the best way to learn is to hang out with people who are already doing it every single day. All right. And also, we host a weekly Q&A that we talk about all kind of deals that we're doing, and also we help you deal with your acquisition. So click the link down below. The link is in the description. We want to see you on our weekly Zoom. Thank you so much.